Welcome to the Sideline Live podcast. Subscribe for more episodes and follow our social media at the Sideline Live. We'd love to hear from you. On episode 19, I'm delighted to be joined by dual player Mickey Burke. We had a brilliant and honest chat about his career, overcoming challenges, his toughest opponents, and much, much more. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode and I hope you do too. Hi Mickey, thanks a million for coming on the podcast.
No problem, Marla. Thanks a million. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Can you give a little bit of background about yourself, just for the listeners who might not know who you are?
My name is Mickey Burke. I suppose I'm known as a hurler footballer. I've played for Meath since 2004, making my senior debut. I'm from a small village called Longwood in County Meath. We're on the Kildare border here, Kildare and Westmeath border, and I'm a publican by trade, a publican and a farmer, I suppose. And my dad was the local publican and my mother was the local school teacher, primary school teacher, and she taught me. So I suppose I'm known, if I am known throughout the county and the country as a footballer and hurler.
Very good. So growing up then, was there any kind of, can you remember kind of a point where you were like, I want to play for Meath? Was there a specific moment, maybe at a match, or just where you kind of said, look, I want to play for my county?
I suppose I always had, so I don't know, that's a strange one. Yeah, like subconsciously I probably always had it in as a goal. Like it was just, it was bred into me from a young age. Like my dad would have always brought me to every Meath game under the sun, a cold morning or afternoon in Navan, to a blazing hot day in Crow Park at a championship match. Like we were at every game, hail, rain or snow. So he would have played football for me himself and just had a huge love of football and hurling and sport in general, and being active. And looking at real old photos, being in a Meath jersey, constantly had a ball in my hand. Did I ever think I was going to play for Meath? Maybe not, but I must have had that goal there from a really, really young age and an ambition to get there. Didn't know if I was ever going to get there, but thankfully I did.
Yeah. And was there a specific, because when you're young, obviously it's all fun and you're just having the crack with your friends. Was there a specific moment where you really took that seriously and you were like, right, I want to drive on here, I want to get a call up to the county squad?
I think I always had a bit of an internal drive in me, and you know, a resilience and a want and a determination. I was definitely a late bloomer. I wasn't the best even in my club. You know, I was probably only 17 or 18 when I started really developing physically, but I was a bloody sore loser and I didn't like losing.
You've met your sister here, I'm the same.
Yeah, I was. And I was probably, being honest, I was a bit pudgy, you know, like that kind of young puppy fat, and I wasn't well developed, and I was a serious trier, but I wasn't quick, if you know what I mean. And just everything just started coming kind of 16, 17, 18, then I made the minors. And but like I said, I always had that goal. I always had a will to win. And when you look back and all those little things, they all added up, and thankfully I got there in the end, like I said. A particular moment is hard to know. Meath, we were so successful from 1980, 85, 86, even though I was too young to even remember that, right up to the early 2000s. And you were going to every Meath game in Crow Park, never expecting to lose. And it was just religion. It still is a religion in Meath, even though we're not maybe getting the success that we want.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find that year minor? Was it just 1 year you were on the minor panel?
I was a minor in 02 and 03, and I got dropped off the 02 one. Meath got to the All-Ireland minors and All-Ireland minor final in 02. And again, I've often said it to people, maybe if I made that squad and got to the All-Ireland final with the lads, maybe I would have got a really big head, and you know, I would have been swanning around the place and swanning around Navan, like, you know, like the great lads. So I've had plenty of ups and downs, but then I made the team in 03 and we played Dublin and Navan, and they gave us a bit of a whooping. And I played 3 years then under 21 and got called into the seniors then in 04, the year after I was a minor.
And interesting you said there about not when you were dropped in '02 that you kind of think, oh, maybe, if I wasn't dropped, maybe I wouldn't be the player I am now. And
Mm.
that's something that a lot of players do say, is when they do come up to kind of a setback or challenge, that it really helps drive them on and kind of get to the level that they are now.
Definitely, and I say the same thing to kids all the time if I'm asked for any kind of advice. Just do your best. You're always going to have ups and downs. Anyone with a straight career of winning every match or having perfect training sessions or having no injuries is just so rare. And
Yeah.
I've had, like, as I was saying, I was a late developer, and then probably Meath under 17s. I had a really good year, and I got asked to the Aussie Rules trials under 17, which was just like, wow, I don't know where this is after coming from. Like, but yeah, let's go to these trials anyway. So I got to the very last trial for the Aussie Rules team, got dropped. So that was a huge, like, word that kind of started spreading. Mickey Burke has kind of come from nowhere to playing for Meath under 17s, and then he's getting in the Irish trial, and then oh, he's going to be on the Irish team, then you get dropped, and it's a big kick in the what for a young fella and his ego and everything. And then yeah, that was the same year I got dropped off the minors. And
Yeah.
but I it never came into my head to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm quitting. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I had that resilience, maybe, that I'm saying. And then I made the minors no three. So, for anyone listening, I'm not trying to be the great lad, but and preach, but it's career and life is full of ups and downs, and we have to get up on the
Yeah.
horse again, don't we?
Definitely. Yeah. And talking about that transition then from minor, you were called into the senior panel then the following year. How did you find that first year of playing with, the lads you probably would have looked up to for years? Like they're big men, they're probably late 20s, early 30s, some of them. How did you find that?
Sure, I was in awe, early, like Trevor Giles, Darren Fay, Graham Geraghty, all had 2 or 3 All Irelands.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Boylan was the manager. I had no experience of weight training, really. So it was a massive shock to the system. Jesus, like, doing weights with these lads. And like I said, these were my heroes. And to walk into the dressing room with them, I was absolutely gobsmacked. My jaw was on the ground. I was there going, I felt like a bit of an imposter. And,
Yeah.
all those things running through my head. So the way I thought to myself is, right, the way I'm going to get these boys respect, if I get it at all, is just by keeping the head down, training hard, um, being myself, which was just being a quiet lad at the time, and just trying to earn
Mm-hmm.
the respect by training hard. And but yeah, it was an intimidating place. Now it wasn't, you weren't getting, it wasn't unbelievably welcoming. It was a tough enough environment to go into, and
Yeah.
but it was a great environment to go into.
Yeah, that's interesting you were saying about imposter syndrome. I think that's something that a lot of players do experience and possibly don't really talk about, because you don't really speak about that to maybe your teammates or.
Yeah, and like, I was only a kid, like I was only 18, and like I said, these guys are my heroes. Sean Boylan was probably one of the most famous GA managers of all time. I used to go to Crow Park idolising these guys, and then next thing,
Yeah.
Mark O'Reilly and Darren Fay, who would have been my heroes because they were closest to me. Like, they're only, Summerhill is probably 10, 12 miles away. Same with Trim.
Yeah.
I was going to training with these boys in the car, so sure, geez, I didn't know what to say to them, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, you hear of all these old school, if you listen to podcasts with soccer teams, and the way lads go into these rough dressing rooms. Like, Meath was known as a tough county. The row in '96, and all these lads were involved in it against Mayo in the All Ireland final. And yeah, I just went in, and like I said, I wanted to earn these guys' respect by training hard and doing my best and
Yeah.
showing up every night. But it was tough. Like, there wasn't hugs and kisses or coming over. Well, Burkey, how's things? How are you keeping?
Yeah. How's
Uh,
school?
yeah. What are you at? So it was pretty much just come into the restaurant with the bag in the back, and I'm
Yeah.
sure then
Keep the
after
head
a few,
down.
yeah, few weeks, then the boys. I do remember Niall McCaig, who would have been a younger fella. Um, at the time, Niler probably would have been in his mid to early 20s from Navan O'Mahony's, would have had a good career at Meath, would have played with Leinster. He came over and shook my hand
Yeah.
and welcomed me, and I always remember that, and it's something I've tried to do.
Yeah.
If a new panel member comes in, to say hello to them and welcome
Yeah.
them, because it can be a tough, like going into a new job or anything, to be
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a nice touch there that he came over and shook your hand. Like that's really good. And now that you're doing it for the next players that were coming in and are still coming in, was there a particular lesson, or lesson is the wrong word, but sort of takeaway from the early years in the squad when you were trying to get your name in there and kind of earn the respect of the lads?
Oh, any takeaway? Like, no, I'm not saying my way was the right way either. I have huge respect for a cockier maybe version to come in and swan around the place. And this is my time, and I want to. I have the right to be in here, and I'm going to rip the place apart. And if a young fella comes in and does that and play as well, or a girl,
Yeah.
comes into the dressing room and plays well, you say to yourself, Jesus, fair play to her. But I just didn't want to kind of set myself up for a fall, maybe. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
Burst in the
Yeah.
door. Well, saying hello to the boys. Well, lads, well, Fazer. There's Graham Geraghty. Well, Garrow, what's the crack? How are you? And then go out and play terrible, like, because they'd be like, who's your man? So
Who does he think he is?
yeah, who's your man? Who does he think he is? And I hated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not saying that's right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if someone wants to do that and they're brilliant and that's their natural
Yeah.
persona or whatever, that's fine. So that's just the way I did things, and
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of would be naturally maybe like that going into, if I went into a new workplace, I'd keep it low for a while until I break out. I burst out after maybe a couple of months.
And then they can't shut you up then
Yeah,
because
that's it. Yeah.
And do you remember you probably do, but your senior debut, when was that?
My first game was in was a Burn Cup in 2004 down in Wexford. Got into a row, of course. Got into a row. Got a yellow card. I was actually playing as a wing forward then, Orla. So
Oh right.
I was up in the forwards. I made my debut as a forward, kind of a worker. Like one of the
Yeah.
guys getting back and tackling and putting in the graveyard shift, as they say. So. I married a guy called Colin Morris from Wexford, who had a long, long career at Wexford, and he was a wily old fox. And yeah, we got into a bit of a barney, but I think the management, I think they liked it in a way when they saw it. Colin Coyle was a selector, and Sean was the manager, and they kind of said, maybe this lad he doesn't take any messing. So yeah, it was great. Sure, the family went down, and don't remember a whole lot pile more from it, but I think it was in Castletown in Wexford. So. That's when the
Yeah.
O'Byrne Cup was in the winter months. It was November 04. Long time ago now.
Yeah. And I'm interested here as well. When did you start to get involved with the hurling squads? Was that kind of that similar age, minor, around those years when you were starting with the football panel?
Yeah, well, I would have played the whole way up.
Okay.
Both like from under 14 up. Where I'm from is actually a hurling area, predominantly in Meath.
Yeah.
All the clubs around us are hurling. So would have played the 16s, minor, 21, and actually made me senior debut for me the summer of 04 against Laois
Okay.
in the Leinster Hurling Championship. So I played for the hurlers first, and then got the call into the football, and I tried to mix them then as best I could for as long as I could, really.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed playing the both of them, and it was something I wanted to do. It was definitely tougher on the body, but
Yeah.
you were young and you were able for it. So
Mm.
yeah, I felt good playing both of them, so that's why I just kept it up.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how did you? Obviously, there would have had to be a lot of communication between the managers. How did you manage to kind of keep that training load within a safe range for you not to be plagued with injury with the likes of overtraining and stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, to be honest. There was definitely times when it wasn't an option. If you like,
Mm.
I'd be lying if I said that the football management didn't kind of question it a lot throughout my career. They kind of said, "Oh, why do you want to be playing with the hurlers?" Like, and
Yeah.
I'd say, "Well, I like hurling and I want to play and I'm good enough." And not everyone, see, everyone kind of gives out sometimes about the dual player, but not everyone is good enough to play both. Do you
Yeah.
know, like you will have a fantastic footballer or you'll have a fantastic hurler. And I'm not saying I was fantastic at either of them, but I was decent at both of them, and I could play at that
Mm-hmm.
level. So like Owen Cadigan, or so you'll always have people who'll be giving out about it and giving out about the dual player. But yeah, the county footballers would have made it hard at times. The management,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it was great when there was good communication between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But many's the time I had to play league on a Saturday and league on a Sunday, or
Yeah.
league on a Sunday, and you'd have to, for the hurlers would say, and then the footballers wouldn't give you the Monday off. You'd have to train.
Show up. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd
Okay.
have to train. So, but again, I was young and I was able for it, and no one was putting a gun to my head. I wanted to do it. I wanted to play as much as I could. So, and
Yeah.
thankfully, touch wood, I didn't get too many. I seemed to get a bad bang if I was going to get an injury. Like I'd get a bad bang instead of a hamstring or a groin or a
Mm-hmm.
calf. It'd be a
Okay.
contact injury more so, thankfully.
Yeah. And do you think playing both? Do you think it took away from like if you were just to focus on hurling, but you because you were doing football, do you think that took away maybe from your game? Do you think you would have been a better player if you would focus on one of them?
Oh yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. Like I definitely would think that my touch in hurling, and if I'm being hand on heart honest, I think if my touch in hurling mightn't have been where it should have been. It was hard. It's hard to get everything in.
Yeah.
But the management were happy with me and the job I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously my fitness was really really good from football.
Yeah.
I tried to get to the hurling wall as much as I could to keep my eye in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it definitely was my hurling as sharp as it was, probably a few percent low than the fellas who were, but it was probably enough to get me still on the team and
Yeah.
performing and fulfilling my role, which was could have been A, man marking a guy, or B, being a worker in around the middle of the field. So I was never a huge massive scorer. So
Mm-hmm.
but I would personally encourage kids to play as many sports as they can. I was only reading an article there. It was just came into my head what I was saying. I can't remember where the article was on, but it's just encouraging kids to play as many sports as they can and not
Mm-hmm.
concentrate on just one sport, from like have this
Yeah.
goal as a 12-year-old that I want to be a pro soccer player, or I want to be whatever. I just think play as much as you can, enjoy the movements. I played a lot of badminton, um, hurling, football. Like I did a bit of boxing, so
Mm-hmm.
they were all great assets to me going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that before the Super Bowl. There was a tweet, and they had gone through all of the players on each team,
That could have
and
been it.
they put out the percentages of players who played one sport, which was I think the lowest, then two sports, which was
Yeah,
just under 50%, and then three sports and four sports. And this is not like they were having the crack playing football and then or taking football seriously and having the crack playing whatever basketball. Like this is high school sports in the States, like that's a high level, like, and that just shows. And there's loads of studies on it and paper and all these things, that the more sports you play and the less you specialize, the better you are.
definitely, because you learn more. As we were saying, you move. That was actually what I saw. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Mm.
Someone sent that on to me, and I was just like, brilliant. Um, like if a kid will say, for example, is 12 years of age and is an unbelievable soccer player, and says, all right, I want to get to Man United when I'm 16, 17, and has that talent and actually does that, fair play. Like you will
Yeah.
always get one or two people that will succeed at that and go on that go and have that drive. And like when I was 12 or 13, geez, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But like if they have that goal and they know what to do, that's brilliant. But I would say play as much as you can, and I felt better playing the two even as I got older. I just felt a bit of mental freshness. Even
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
lost a football game, you'd go with the hurlers there for a couple of nights training and take your
Yeah.
mind off the stress of it.
Yeah, no, I would think the same. I usually play club football and basketball, but I'm just injured at the moment. But I always find the seasons don't overlap that much, but when they do, it's great because you just get that break, and even after, let's say, a hard football match, championship, I'll go out and shoot some basketball just for the crack, just to take the mind away from football. And I was chatting to someone about it the other day. If there's this big argument, is the GAA now gone professional and all this stuff. If I don't think mentally I would be able for a professional career at a sport because of that mental aspect of it being your job, and you don't have nothing else, but you don't have that distraction of work or another sport.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in future years. But no, I'm the same as you. I always enjoyed just that chance of a mental break, and if you lose a game or if you win a game, it's just brilliant. And like, as regards the dual player, I think that maybe it's getting tougher because, as you said, you need two good managers, open-minded managers. The fixtures are making it harder for guys. But I've said it before on another podcast that I think that if the like of Conor Callahan kind of came out and made it cool again, or made it, for want of a better word, kind of sexy, like, I think Conor Callahan would definitely be able to do it, like, because he's so talented. He's doing it for Coola without hardly picking up a hurl. He's banging in 2-3 and 2-4 in club games. And if someone tries to tell me that he couldn't play for 50 minutes for the Dublin Hurlers on a Saturday night and play another 40 or 50 for the Dublin Footballers on Sunday, definitely be able to, no problem. But again, maybe he doesn't want to do that. But I think it'll take someone like him to change people's mindset.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the GAA need to do more to promote and protect the dual players that are there now? I know there's not as many as there would have been before with the commitments at the moment.
Yeah, there's probably not as many as there was before, but there's probably not as many as there was before because, as you said, the GAA are making it hard. Like, Keith Higgins from Mayo is one of the best players I've ever played against in both codes. He's so good. What a hurler. He's unbelievable from Mayo. And he was the same as me. His appearances for Mayo is outrageous. He nearly has 280 appearances, I think, in both, between league, championship, hurlers, footballers. It's incredible. It was put up on the Mayo page there the other day when he retired from the football. So I think the GAA need to look. It's hard to know. There's no easy answers, in fairness to the GAA. Like, I'd be really open to playing championship games on a Friday night under lights, trying to be different. We're very slow to change sometimes, Orla, and I just think that having that open mind and being quirky and trying to change things up a bit is great, and that would benefit. Like, if Dublin Hurlers, for example, are playing on a Friday night, or footballers, and vice versa, then played on the Sunday, that'd give Conor Callahan at least a day to recover, and maybe give him the chance to do it, or try it for a year or 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. On you had it on your Instagram a good while ago. I'd saved it and I put it up actually as well. You had I think it was 2009, 2010. You had a diary and you put out the goals for the year, and it was all about you put down goals for both. I can't remember the specific ones, but I think it was like make the Fitzgibbon team, get up and get a good game with Meath and both codes. Take us through how you sort of set those goals for that year, and you said you wrote them all down, and the majority, if not all of them, kind of you got to them.
Yeah, I suppose it was something I did. Like, you got to put that into context. Like, that's 10, 11, 12 years ago. I suppose maybe training your mind and sports psychology and all that type of thing was very much in its infancy. It was probably kind of childish right at the same time, but I just thought, something I've done and still do. I still visualize, like, I visualize the end of the year playing with Ireland in the shinty against Scotland. Like, I still have little goals like that. Say, right, if I play really well with the Meath hurlers here in the championship, might get another crack at the shinty. So it just would have stuck down goals like that. Get my starting place in the Meath football team, get my starting place in the Meath hurling team. Obviously I was playing Fitzgibbon and Sigerson in college and DIT. So I can't remember a few of the other ones, but I just would have had those probably basic goals, probably very individualistic goals, but now you'd be thinking more rounded. But it was just I think goal setting is great, and for anyone to have that wrote down on a piece of paper, is
Yeah.
it's there and it's in front of you, and the man or the woman in the mirror is what I always say. At times, it's just, isn't it? Once you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, right, I did my best. I did my best, and after that, you can do no more.
Yeah. Would you set specific goals then for yourself going into a match or going into maybe a training session? Would you have done small things like that going into a match or anything?
Oh yeah, I would have. Yeah, I would have. KPIs, key performance indicators. I would have. We would have. Well, firstly with Meath, we would have been given obviously
Yeah.
roles to play on the day. If you're in a certain position, you might have been asked to hit so many kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
Running wise, you might have been asked to sprint. So get so many sprints, and you would be told that after the game or at half
Mm-hmm.
time. We'd have GPS trackers on us. Different guys
Yeah.
in different positions might want, if you're a working wing forward, we'll say, just for example, two or three turnovers in a half, or get a block in, or get a couple of hits in, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I suppose when I was starting off, kind of man marking guys, it was very much along the lines of, can't let this lad score.
Yeah.
Don't let him score at all. And I remember if I came in and I was after playing a stormer of a game, marking a really, really good player, and he got a point,
Mm.
I'd be devastated. I'd be
Yeah.
devastated, or a point or two, and I'd be like, I didn't do my job there. I didn't, But over the whole course of the game, I probably was really, really good. But that point used to drive me mad.
Yeah.
Um, I'm probably matured a little bit then in latter years, even though I still didn't like people scoring. You don't want people scoring on you, but yeah, again, became maybe a little bit more rounded, and said to myself, right, I probably got the better of him for the majority of the game. And look, if he kicks a worldie of a point,
Yeah.
so
You
be
can.
it.
There's only so much you can do for some of the scores we've been seeing in championship.
Exactly, and the cornerback where I used to play, it was never a position that you were going to get much praise, and I knew that the papers are never going to be, not that you want to be, loved, but you were never going to
Yeah.
get much praise. And many's the time I would have thought I did broke pretty even, or did better than most guys on Bernard Brogan or Dean Rocker, guys like that, but they'd still finish the game with 0-2 from play, and you'd be like, I did my best, and I probably got the better of them, but they have the little 0-2 and then maybe 0-5 from frees after them, and all of a sudden it's 7 points, and
Yeah.
Jeez, Mickey Burke your man scored 7 points off Mickey Burke there, and
Mm.
that's what the general public would say, but you know,
Yeah. Is it hard to avoid that as a player? I know you won't, like, if you're not picking up the papers, but kind of having the maybe a passing comment in the street or wherever. Is it hard to kind of avoid the constant criticism by some, whether it's the general public or the media?
yeah, it is. And again, I suppose it's coming back to that individual thing, or like different people react in different ways to it. Probably at the start, I was probably a bit softer, and
Mm.
people's comments and things like that would hurt me, and comments are hurtful. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there now as well, and that was becoming really prevalent in the last couple of years, with forums and all that type of thing, and Twitter. And
Yeah.
so I
Mm.
stayed away from Twitter.
I
I
don't. I don't
tried not to
blame
go
you.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get enough abuse. I got enough abuse. So I said I won't put myself out in that. I'll go on Instagram, but yeah, then I probably got a bit of a tough skin then as I got a little bit older, in my early 20s, and I just kind of didn't bother with it. But a few instances were very tough. Obviously I had a
Mm.
big row with Ono Gar at that time, and in the Leinster final, and there was like every shop. I remember being in a coffee shop in Navan one day, and just having a coffee, and I was in around that time, and it came on the radio, and everyone just turned around and kind of looked at me, and the weird things like that. But the papers could be cruel, but probably more so for my parents maybe at times, and people around me more so than me. Like if I was getting abused at a game, or if
Mm.
I was getting a bit of hassle, if mum or dad heard it, or
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that. Whereas I kind of became accustomed to it almost, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. going into those games then, particularly maybe the bigger games, how do you sort of approach, let's say, going into Leinster final in Croke Park, the big crowds, you're probably people screaming at you, possibly not screaming the nicest thing at you. How do you approach the crowd and the sort of, do you have a pre-game routine of kind of keeping focus? Because a lot of players say they don't really hear the crowd in Croke Park, which as a fan it's kind of, it's mad to think of, but I know as a player you're so focused on the game.
Yeah, I just try to do all the little things in the lead up to the game. I try to do my weights. I try to train hard, train well, eat really well, hydrate, sleep, all the boring things that no one likes to talk about.
Yeah,
Everyone wants a bit of magic dust, don't they?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
what do you take, or what do you like? What music do you listen to? And I'm just like, no, it's the. There's a process to it. It was the having my homework done on my opponent, knowing what
Yeah,
40 kicks with, what way does he like to run. So doing my video work,
yeah,
and having that bank of training and knowing that I've trained really hard and done all those things. And again, I would visualize Crow Park. I'd visualize running out to the field, listening to the crowd, the noise of the crowd, seeing maybe a few different things, like if it was a wet day, a high ball coming in, would the ball slide off the ground real quick, or little things like that. That was kind of my routine, more so than anything in particular. Just warm up well, and just tick all those boxes. And once I did that, and if I had a good game or a solid game, then great. And if I had not so good a game, well then, like I said, I'd be able to look at myself in the morning, and I could do that. I could do that all the time, saying that I know I've prepared to the best of my ability here, and that gave
yeah.
me the best chance to perform.
And you mentioned there the video analysis. I know from a team perspective they would have been doing a lot, and as you said, KPIs, but from a personal standpoint, would you watch a lot of games yourself? Would you watch clips of players, kind of know their tendencies, like you were saying, which is their dominant foot? Would you do that much?
Oh, I would, yeah, I would. I definitely watched. I def. I wouldn't actually go to games, to be honest. I'm not a huge man to
Okay.
go to games.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been to it. Yeah, no, I was at a few All Ireland finals with Dad. He
Yeah.
hasn't missed an All Ireland final since 1957. So I've been to a few with him,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't just go off the bat to watch a club game or an inter-county game. I'd definitely watch them if they were on TV more so.
Yeah.
But as
Okay.
regards marking a guy, yeah, I would. We'd all be given an individual clip of a Dean Rock, a Michael Meehan, a Colin Cooper, and you'd see his movements and his tendencies. That'd all be done by the video analysis. Then you just try and see what he does. But again, they have a game, they could try something different. So you just look for their I suppose their traits that they have, and have that in
Yeah.
your mind. Have that in your mind, yeah. Would, yeah. But I would, at the same time, I wouldn't go too OTT with it, because
Okay.
you could be preparing all week for the Gooch Cooper, and then maybe he's injured, and
Yeah.
then next thing another lad is thrown in, and he's a completely different kettle of fish. He's a big tall fella, and they're lumping the ball in high, or he's a small tiny little guy and he's really quick. So
Yeah.
do your little bit of homework. Don't get too fixated on it, but just have your little bit of homework done.
Okay. That's really interesting. You mentioned a lot of names there. Who was your probably toughest opponent, skill wise, talent wise? Was there anyone that just really stood out in that aspect?
Yeah, like the Gooch, Marta Gooch in 09, All Ireland semi final in 09. He's probably the most well known. But I always say it to the same people that Marta, a lot of good players that people would forget about, like Paddy Bradley, Colin McFadden, all them guys, really good players. Paul Kerrigan, Cork, like so many good footballers. Alan Brogan. But I would say that Andy Moran, I've said it before, you probably heard, Andy was just very strong, really good movement, never stopped moving, which was annoying for me. Like most guys would stop, to give you a breather for a second. He'd just
Yeah.
keep walking around the place, and he was always talking. He was shouting at boys, putting a hand up, being really positive, really
Yeah.
positive even if they were having a stinker, or if he was having a stinker himself, he would keep. Again, that was getting into my head probably all the time. He'd be like, "Brilliant, Joycey," or whatever. "That's great work. Brilliant. Keep it going." And he was walking around, and then his movement, he'd be able to give you a shove. So
Yeah.
Andy Moran was a handful. He was a handful.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there was David Kelly from Sligo was probably one of the quickest guys I marked. He was bloody lightning. But yeah, a lot of good, a lot of different players. So it was always pressure when you're in cornerback. It was always
Yeah.
pressure.
That's it. With his movement then, out of interest, I'm a forward, so I'm trying to take as much as I can from his game. What does like is he just walking around like is he kind of pacing kind of maybe not from the end line but from the 14 to 21? Is that kind of, or is he just not aimlessly walking, but I'm sure he's walking with a purpose or moving with a purpose.
Yeah, moving with a purpose. Like I said, way quicker lads. And I'm now, Jesus, he wasn't slow,
Yeah.
but he always made the ball stick as well.
Mm.
Sometimes when the ball would be kicked into corner forward, you might get a little finger, or you might just flick it away from him. He always made that ball stick,
Mm.
and he'd pop it off to a runner coming through. Yeah, he started in fairly deep and wide. Like he'd be, like he'd be right at the end line sometimes, and a lot of the time he mightn't veer outside the 21. So, but
Okay.
he was probably directed to do that. Like
Yeah.
one guy might float out a little bit further, and then they'd constantly be chopping and changing. But no, his runs were just very intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and he was very, very strong. He was able to try and sometimes when he'd make the initial run, he'd give me a little nudge, and he'd be gone.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and he was very, very, very strong. Yeah, but his very positive as well in his talking to his teammates, which I found fascinating. I was sometimes in your cornerback, you're so focused on marking that it's hard to see everything going on. But I do remember him being really vocal in a positive way, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned a lot of names there in terms of talent and skill. Could you give, like, if you were to group that amazing bunch of players together and kind of come up with a couple of common traits for those players? Is there a specific reason why they were just so good compared to the rest of the players in the other counties?
I suppose just natural talent. Like, aren't some men and women just so talented? Like the Gooch was a one-off. I always found Michael Murphy, really, really big, big, big game player.
Mm.
Performed in all the big games. I think James McCarthy is very similar for Dublin. Like
Yeah,
he's just a machine. Winter, summer, always performs. And it's only when these guys are gone you'll realize how really, really good they were.
yeah,
I suppose just that will to win, and that I think that you have to be ruthless in high level sport. You have to have nice guys. Nice guys win nothing is what they say. That kind of
yeah,
a statement, and it's a bit cringy. But yeah, I think you have to have a ruthless streak in you. Like you can't play for that long or play that many games or win those many games if you're not ruthless in some way, shape, or form. I think
yeah.
James McCarthy's probably the footballer of the decade for me. Like serious, serious performer week in, week out, and he's tough,
Yeah.
he's dirty, he's a great footballer. He's got everything.
Mm. He does the same with Ballymun Kickums as well. I was watching the Dublin Senior Club Championship this year, as everyone was, as club was before county, just phenomenal. And I think he probably goes under the radar potentially in some games because he's given a role and he just does it. And sometimes as a player, you're given a role that the cameras won't see, as I call it.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by he's a winter and summer footballer. Like he goes back to his club and he's still the dominant man. And I've seen brilliant county footballers, but they're crap club footballers. And
Mm.
that was something I never wanted to be. I always wanted to give my club everything and try and perform week in, week out for the club. And he's geez, now hang on, I'm not comparing myself to James McCarthy saying, but what a player he could do that week in, week out over that long period of time.
Yeah,
He's definitely a man for all seasons, and that's why just that longevity of like same as Johnny Doyle there from Kildare. Like
yeah,
Johnny's
yeah.
another guy who Jeez, hard as the hubs of hell. He's only a rake of a man, a bony man, but by God, when he hits you, you knew about it. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's missed a game for something like 20 years with his club. Like it's
Yeah. I
absolutely,
heard that.
it's sick.
Yeah.
And he played for Kildare for 15 years and hardly missed a game. Like, talking about weight, some boys are just naturally hardy and just bony hard is what I like to call it. And he's another guy, winter or summer, hail, rain or snow, he always performed. He mightn't have the All Irelands for it, but
Yeah.
a tough cookie as well in his own way.
Yeah, absolutely. Was Andy the smartest player you played against, or was there someone else that kind of just could just like their IQ was off the charts? They just could outsmart a team or an individual.
Oh God, yeah. Marty Clark was very good. I had to man mark him. He's coming back now. That's a
Mm.
flashback. Came from Australia. He does a bit of reporting now with BBC. I think up north. He would have played with Down. I think
Mm.
something happened. Marty now. Did he get a bit? Did he have a bit of an illness or something like that? But he was out in the AFL and he was just athletically very very good. A brilliant foot passer.
Mm.
He could unlock a room with no doors with his foot passing type of thing. And
Wow.
yeah, he was really, really good. Had to mark him a couple of times. But yeah, Declan O'Sullivan from Kerry, that was more so in a challenge match. Um, yeah, a lot of smart players out there who,
Mm.
again, Declan was a different footballer than, again, another tough cookie by all accounts.
Mm.
Mightn't have been really pacey, but had a football brain. Trevor Giles is probably
Mm.
the one from me point of view, and you know he was the master at foot passing and kick passing, back in the day, like so.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Talking about those big games, I'm always interested to hear the pre-game routine. But as a player, would you have much of a post-game routine? I know the team would do different things, but from a personal point of view, what would you do? Would you? I know you had up again on your story. I think it was a good while ago. You kind of note down after a game. I think it was you marking someone and you kept them scoreless. It was a good few weeks ago, so I can't remember exactly what it was, but you were kind of right down after a game.
yeah, it would. Like I'd just do my normal thing. I'd like to recover well, from a food point of view, from a supplement point of view, from compression tights and ice baths if they were available to me. I'd get
Yeah,
in the ice bath and put on my compression leggings, have a protein shake after the game, just eat some
yeah,
good food, hydrate. The next day, like as regards drinking, definitely as I got older, I definitely didn't do as much of it. I'm not teetotal, but I drink very, very little. When I was younger, I would have drank after the games, would have went out.
mm,
I think it's important to blow off a bit of steam if that's what you want to do in the right way.
yeah,
Absolutely no harm. You train so hard. You see a lot of the rugby guys going out, soccer guys having a drink. For me, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're doing it correctly.
mm,
But as I got a bit older, I was like, "Jeez, I just don't want to have a banging hangover here now for a day or two, and
yeah,
my recovery to suffer." So, yeah, I would analyze the game. I try and pick out points that if I was good at. I think people sometimes focus a lot on the negatives, and I probably was a bit like that.
yeah. I'm the same.
Uh, like I was saying about maybe getting the better of my man completely, but he
Mm,
scores a point, and all of a sudden I think I've had a really crap game.
yeah,
Um, Always remember the things that you were good at and keep doing
mm,
what you do well. Like if you're good at being sticky as a man marker and getting your hand in, keep doing that and keep practicing that.
yeah,
Um, people get lost maybe on the negatives, and I won't lie and say I didn't do that. I probably do that, and
mm.
it's just probably maybe a bit of an Irish thing. We're
I
slow
was
to
about to
give,
say,
yeah, we're slow
yeah,
to give ourselves any kind of compliment at all, aren't we?
yeah. No, absolutely, and that's something. Um, I don't write a lot after a game, but if there's a particular game that's just annoying, when you just have a game where you don't think you played well, you kind of I write out nothing too formal. It was just kind of positives and negatives. Don't really give them a title, but it's just kind of remembering there was positives because, as you say, it's an Irish thing. Geez, I let my man score, but you could have had the best game of your entire life, but you're just focusing on the fact that this fella scored a point. Like,
Yeah, big time, big time. So yeah, like I didn't. Again, I didn't go OTT in the whole thing, kind of writing down a
Mm.
massive list. But if there was something I was disappointed with myself in and something I felt I really needed to improve, I would, and I'd try and put that into practice then in training the following week or the weeks after. But
Yeah.
I do think it's important for us to. It's all about balance, isn't it? And I think
Mm.
balancing everything that if you're doing something well, if you're doing something well, keep doing it. And if
Yeah.
there's something that you need to improve on, well then work on it. And I think maybe it was Tomas O'Shea or someone said, I never got too high with the highs and I never got too low with the lows.
Mm.
Again, he had that balance. Now, I probably got a bit too low with the lows. Just,
Mm.
there'd be nights I wouldn't sleep if we lost the game and I kind of think back and I go, Jesus, like, but at the same time, I mightn't have got to where I did if I didn't have that drive and that hurt at
Yeah.
the same time.
Mm.
So I just say to people to be balanced, try and be balanced in everything that you do. Food, diet, training. Um, it's easier said than done, but
Yeah.
if you're able to do it, do it.
Talking about that training there, we had a question in about kind of when you were balancing both panels, comparing the two squads in terms of the preparation expectation, which I know is different because the footballers will be in the senior championship, and the commitment. Can you kind of give a comparison with the two squads? Like, would it be the same commitment for both squads?
There definitely would have been a difference between, if I'm being hand and heart honest, between the football and the hurling. I
Mm.
think the hurlers are bridging that gap now. The footballers was just like elite performing, ultimate professionalism at the time.
Yeah.
The hurling was definitely a step or two behind. You had guys
Mm.
that were really trying to drive it, but then
Mm.
unfortunately you had players who maybe mightn't have been doing as much as they should have or buying into it, and that's just being honest.
Yeah.
Again, a little bit is that the whole of Meath is football, and you only have a
Yeah.
pocket. You have a pocket of hurling, so the county board then would be predominantly football, and it'd be football mad county. So the footballers would obviously get get nearly everything or whatever they want within reason. The hurlers might feel a little bit kind of the
Mm.
poor man or the poor relation and the whole thing. But no, there would have been a difference between the football and the hurling in terms of training and the conditioning of the players and stuff like that. But I've noticed a big improvement in the last couple of years now and again, hopefully this year in the Joe McDonagh, we're playing at a high level and playing a lot of good counties there. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, players have to change and have to want to change as well. You see in other counties like Laois and counties like that in hurling are making huge strides by changing the culture and changing the culture in the group. So
Yeah.
um, I'm hoping that that'll happen as well with the hurlers now.
Yeah, probably as well. The success of the football would have driven more of the county support and the county board towards that. And as you were saying, changing the culture. The big thing for me this year was Antrim hurling. Like, they did really well. Like, they're typically probably not a strong hurling county, maybe, but like, they're up there now in senior championship.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Sure, there would be again a pocket up in the Glens that would be hurling mad, eat, sleep, and drink it. They're a little
Mm.
bit isolated up there, but yeah, we played them in the Joe McDonagh in Navan in the last game. Now we were out, and they were already through to the final. But again, it's similar to Kerry as well. North Kerry is predominantly hurling, and it's all hurling. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, it's about just changing the culture. And like you said, if Meath is we won 7 or 8 All Irelands in football,
Mm.
so it's football mad, and it can be harder even getting a kid to pick up a hurl. So barring areas like mine where you have where it's a hurling stronghold. So um, yeah, I'm hoping that 2021 will be a good year for us. We're in the Joe McDonagh again, and we're training hard as it is while doing the best we can with what we can. We have to fill out apps and we
Mm.
have our own programs to follow. So it's all good. It's all good. And please God, we'll see a bit of game time this year. I hope. Orla, please
Yeah,
God.
fingers crossed. Yeah, absolutely. I was listening to a couple of different things. I think it was Brian Cody was chatting about changing the culture in Kilkenny. You know, if anyone doesn't know who Brian Cody is, you can go Google him. But he was saying someone was saying, I think it was when he started with the panel, let's say training was 7, I'm paraphrasing here, but lads would show up at 10 to 7, whack on the boots and go out. Whereas now, and I've heard it from other players as well, the expectation for, let's say, training's at 7, you're nearly rocking up at 6, 6:15. What are you doing in that 45 minutes before training? Is it just having the crack with the lads? Is it doing your mobility? Is it your activation? I know the bands are a big thing now. What do you spend your time before training doing?
Yeah, I suppose it'll vary for every player, to be honest. Some guys might be coming home from work, and it mightn't suit them to go back to the house and get their gear and come to training. So they'll have their gear with them and just fly in. Most training centres now would have a gym or have a weights room or whatever, an area to stretch and foam roll. Physio, so like training was at starting, we'll say at 7:15. I'm sure physios a lot of the time will be in from 6. I know the hurling and football physios could be in at 6 or 6:15. So guys are carrying knocks, niggles. I have to get my ankle and my thumb strapped. So that takes like 15-20 minutes from the physio. So I normally get in at about 6 or 6:15 at the latest. If training's at 7:15, I give myself an hour and 15. Might hop on the bike for 10 or 15 minutes just to warm up the legs. A little bit of a stretch, nothing too major. I'm not mad on the stretching anymore pre-training, just a bit more of mobility. And might get out in the field then for 10 or 15 minutes before training starts, just drive a ball to a lad or kick a ball to a lad, get your eye in. Just basically warming up and prepping for the session. Some guys might have to do a bit of rehab. They might be carrying a knock. And they might have to do a half an hour of rehab before they get out into the field. And so there's all those different kind of variants going on. But some guys just have no injuries, have no niggles, and they might come at 7:15, trains at 7:15, and just on with the boots, and they're out there for about 10. But I'd say most guys, we were told to be out in the field for 15 minutes, at least a minimum of 15 minutes before every session, just to get the engine firing.
Yeah, that's it. Would you do much skill then before training? I know you're just kicking a football, but would you kind of go through the fundamental stuff? I watch a lot of Colin Nally's drills up on YouTube. Is that something that you would focus on a lot before training? Is particularly with the hurling, probably getting the touch in?
Yeah, you'd break into, you'd face a guy and you drill a ball at him there, maybe 10 yards away, hand pass it, get your eye in, all handling, push back another 20 yards, then maybe another to 30 yards, low and high, take the ball on your hurl, take it just in your hand. And again, maybe some guys might do a little bit of shooting before or after training. And it was the same with the football. Like I used to do the same. Used to get out early, kick ball, hand pass, solo, take a few shots. I probably took too many shots when I was younger. I probably, out
at the 45 or 65 trying to kick a football over, was it?
Well, yeah. When I was younger, would you believe it? Do you know how I got out of that? I read Donald Cusick's book.
Okay.
The Cork Hurler. And it was either Donald O'Grady, the manager, or John Allen. You know the way you'd run out to the field and you'd see boys lashing the ball before the photo was taken. The boys would come out of Croke Park and they'd be lashing the ball. It was either Donald O'Grady or John Allen said, "Right, boys, we're not doing that anymore. That's absolutely stupid, right? You're going to pull something, right? You're going to pull your hamstring, right? You're going to pull your hamstring. I think Diarmuid O'Sullivan actually pulled his hamstring running out of Croke Park one day, but anyway, or running out into the field. He slipped and pulled it. I'm nearly sure he did in All Ireland final. But he said, right, lads, photo, and you're going to carry the ball into 30 yards out on the D, straight in front of the goals, and you're going to hit it over the bar.
Yeah.
And ever since that, I can hand on heart, isn't it amazing when you read things? I see boys coming out straight away and they're shooting from the corner flag.
Yeah.
And you're going, boys, you're never going to do that in a game. You're going to pop your hamstring, right? Yeah. So, no, stop. Warm up and then kick ball. So, no, I and even when I'm practicing frees, people might laugh. I'm the free taker for Longwood. But I will start on the 14 and I will work my way back out. I will work my way back out slowly but surely to maybe 40 yards. So when I'm practicing.
Okay.
You know, so don't start in the 45 out from the sideline. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
get your confidence up in close, and then work your way back out.
Yeah. And get the hamstrings warmed up as well. That's the most important thing.
Definitely when you're getting to my age, if you're 17 or 18 or whatever, you're all right.
Yeah, yeah. And chatting about those sessions, like I'm sure, particularly with, let's say, football, with the running sessions, you would have been going through hell in those sessions. How do you, like, mentally, you spoke about kind of a little bit maybe a sports psychology. How do you just keep going through the sessions and just give everything? And I'm going to be really honest here, I struggle to give 100% consistently. It's something I really need to work on. How do you just, it's, I know it's mind over matter. How do you get through those sessions?
Yeah, no, that's great that you're honest, or like like absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say that I find every training session easy. Like that, that'd be the biggest lie of all time. You have this lad, as you've probably seen before, on your shoulder saying, "How good are you going to feel after doing this? You're going to feel, man, you're a beast. Like this is great. Like you're flying here." Then you've
Yeah,
this other lad going, lad, you've done this so many times. You've played in Crow Park. You don't need to be running. What are you doing?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Stop. Come on. Let's go in. Let's have a few cookies or whatever. And like no one's going to know. No one's going to find out.
yeah,
Go in. Let's eat chocolate watching telly. And I have to flick him away during the runs. Go away. Stop. And I'd be lying if I said that every training session was easy. And of course I've thought of pulling out. Of course I've thought of pulling out, but I'd feel like a fraud if I did. I feel like, and the boys would be looking at you, and the boys in training, and if people see you doing that in training, then they're going to say to themselves, "Well, can I count on him in a big game, or can I count on him, when the heat's on, when it matters the most?"
mm,
And that's what I've just tried to do. I've just tried to power on, and geez, some nights I don't want to say I was top of the runs every night either. Like I wasn't
mm,
top of the runs every night. Sometimes I was in middle, sometimes I was near the end, but I always just grounded out. And even if I
mm,
was stiff or sore, I got it through. And I think that's better than holding up your hand and going, "No, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore." If you
mm,
hold up your hand and you say, "I can't give anymore," or I can't run anymore. My legs are gone.
mm,
Carry me off here. Someone come under this arm, and pull me off. Well, then you've done your job.
yeah,
But yeah, mental strength. I don't know. It's just something I seem to have had, and I think I've got it from my father. I always remember him saying, "Never give up," even when I was young, and I was no good and crap. And
mm,
as I was saying, a bit of a late bloomer. He would always say, "Don't give up and keep trying, and you can always do your best." And those, again, kind of cringy one-liners that people don't like hearing, but they're all the same things that I say to kids that you
yeah,
can do, isn't it? Do your best. And um, because like I remember Jerry McEntee, what? How many times have you got to your limit? Like I often ask myself this. Jerry McEntee used to say to us, "How many times have you got to your physical limit where you cannot give any more?" I don't know if
yeah,
I've got there yet. I don't know if
mm,
I've maybe a couple of times. He remembers. I think, well, I don't know if it was the 91 All Ireland final against Down he was playing, or was it 88 against Cork, and he had to be carried off the field. Like when
oh,
do you get to that state? Like you don't get to that state too often when you just can't. Your tank's gone. It's gone.
yeah,
So there's
yeah,
always more in you, no matter how much you think you have. Yeah,
yeah,
gone. Like
yeah. That's a big thing. I know it was the, is it the SEALs in America? They always
yeah.
say if you think you've gone 100%, you've only gone in your mind. If you think you've gone 100%, you've
You
only
have 40
physically
left or
gone.
something.
Yeah, that's it. I paraphrasing there. I can't remember the exact thing, but
Yeah.
and you kind of read these things, as you say, the cliche, but then you start to really read into them. And over lockdown, I've done a load of reading and sports psychology and loads of books, but it
Yeah.
is that thing you just kind of have to push. And another thing that I read recently, it was, you can't let your mind, the first, like, if the thought comes in to pull out, you've lost. Like you
Hmm.
just have to, once your mind doesn't have that thought, you can keep going, but the mind is the first thing to go.
Yeah, and I was going to say the Navy SEALs, you're definitely doing a lot of reading. I'm the same as you. Like that is, can you imagine how far they and they have the guy in the shoulder. Like if they ring the bell, there's a
Yeah,
bell there, and they can go at any time they want. They ring the bell and they bring them in to give them donuts and coffee. That's the famous one. You know, come on in,
yeah,
come on inside, pal. We'll give you donuts and coffee. And they go and they
yeah,
ring the bell, but they're done then. So you have to flick that guy off that wants you to go eating the cookies. And once you have the training done and you've given everything, then you can have a few
yeah,
cookies and enjoy it, you
yeah,
know. So, but
exactly.
yeah, it's amazing. The body is and the mind. We don't know half enough about the mind, and the
Mm,
mind is a muscle, and you know, train that as well. And like I said, do a bit of visualization. And the mind is so deep; it can go to places that we can't even imagine, and the body can as well. The body can
yeah,
go. People can push our body and to places that we just don't know. So look at the Navy
yeah,
SEALs. When they think they're done, they still reckon they've another 30 or 40%, whatever it is. It's just amazing.
yeah. There was a guy actually. He employed a former SEAL as his personal trainer, and the first session, the trainer, the SEAL asked him to do a pull up, or it was pull ups, and he could only do one, and he was wrecked. And the SEAL made him do. I think they ended up doing 100, or it could have been more. And he said, in my mind, I would have never thought I could
Yeah,
have gotten there, but because your man was pushing him and saying to him, "You're only gone." Like he would have thought he had maxed out 100% at one rep, but he got to 100. Like that's incredible.
it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. It's mad, and again, that shows you how far. Like when Sir Roger Bannister won did the 4 minute mile back in the
Mm,
day, like the time was no one could beat 4 minutes for the mile in a run.
mm, yeah,
I think it would have been the 50s. Sir Roger Bannister, yeah. I think it was the 50s. But within about 3 weeks, about 10 people had broken his record. He was the
mm,
first guy to do the mile run in under 4 minutes. He collapsed at
yeah,
like there was a big thing in London, and there was oxygen there, and everyone, oh my, this is unbelievable. Like, and it was like sure no one
yeah,
had done it. But
yeah.
then within about 3 weeks, another 10 lads had done it. So
Because
it just shows you like if you're struggling at 100 kg in the bench press or 80 kg or whatever your squatter, you can break that. That's your mind. Like you can do 102.5. You know, you can add a couple of plates. You will get there. With
yeah,
practice, obviously with practice. If you're not practicing, you won't. But
yeah.
you can get there. Yeah, like the body's amazing, amazing piece of
Mm,
work.
yeah. I'm interested here as well about your own training. And I was talking to someone recently about training, and I'm coming back from injury, and the training, like it's particularly when you're kind of training by yourself and you're getting ready for match day or county training sessions, the training nearly has to be as hard, if not more difficult, than those situations. So as you said, in your mind you can go to that level. Like you were saying with the 4 minute mile,
Mm.
because the other guys saw he did it, they went and achieved the 4 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose from a personal point of view, or like I always enjoyed training anyway. I never found it a chore.
Mm,
I really loved the grind of training. I know that's not for everyone. It's definitely a tough time at the moment, and people are. I said I'd kind of put up a few videos here and there of the training that I'm doing, and again, I don't want to be preaching. I'm not saying it's right. My volume of
mm,
training is right, or my gym work is right for everyone. It seems to
yeah,
have suited me. It's made me. The reason why I did it is gym work, or why I do gym work, is obviously to be battle hardened for games and not to pick up injuries. That's
mm,
mainly number one. Number two is just general health, and three, I want to try and look good. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't
yeah,
want to have a decent figure, like or help me to
yeah,
have a decent figure. But as regards the training, yeah, I would have been a fecker for training all the time, and I probably still am, and I still have that in my head that I need to train for hours and push and grind. And geez, if I hear lads doing an hour and a half, I have to be doing 2.5 or 3 hours, But now I read Eddie Jones's autobiography and English rugby manager, trainer, as you said, coach. I read his autobiography, and like you said, there a second ago, his big one is pushing the players in training so hard that they're never going to experience that in a match day. When it comes to a match day, that they're going,
Yeah.
Jesus, this is, well, not this is
It's not
easier.
easy, but
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not easy, but it's nothing like we've done with your man up in the stand there. Jeez, sure, that was torture. Like,
Yeah.
so his trainings, according to his book, have shrank from like an hour 30 to like 45, 50 minutes with England.
Wow,
And
okay.
it's
Yeah.
meant to be horrific, like it's meant to be horrendous stuff. But
Yeah.
he said that that they were going to get to the World Day. Well, he said they were going to win it,
Mm.
and they nearly did. They got to the final. So and he
Mm.
said they were going to be the fittest team at the World Cup. So yeah, it's about again, like I said, balance and getting to know your body and what works for you,
Yeah.
what gets you to the performing to the best of your ability. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'd be saying to people, the weights and that. Like, geez, I just don't lift weights all day, every day and do no running or
Mm.
no football or hurling. I have to
Yeah.
mix and combine all those as best I can.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned there you do a lot of training. I know you train on Christmas Day, and some people listening, they're gonna be like, "What is your man going out on Christmas Day?" Can you explain the thought process behind that? Because I know you're doing that for a while. It's starting to become a little trend now that you see players going out on the 25th of December.
Yeah, yeah. I said that recently. Enough. Yeah, I always train on Christmas Day. Again, being a bit of an oddball and a bit of a headbanger. I enjoy just going, so I could enjoy my Christmas dinner. To be honest, I get up in the morning and I go for a run, and it can be a boring enough all day anyway. You get up and you're just lazing around, and it was just a normal day for me. And got up and I trained and had a fine dinner. But as I was saying, Daly, you probably heard Daly Thompson was a decathlete for England, Olympic athlete, unbelievable athlete, and he was the same. He used to always train on Christmas Day.
Mm.
Then he started hearing people were training on Christmas Day as well, so he had to train twice a day. So
Yeah.
I started doing that the last couple of years. I heard of all these boys going. I was like, yes, I thought I was the only person training, and I was for a long time. I know
Yeah.
Donald Cusick actually was as well. I read it in his book. He used to go out on Christmas Day. He used to go to the wall ball.
Yeah.
So I said, "Feck yous now. If yous are all doing one session, I'm doing the two." So that's what I did. My mother
So
thinks
do you?
I've
Yeah.
cracked. Like,
There'll be a few people listening now thinking is that as well. What do you do in the first and second session? Would you do running and then gym, or what would you do?
I'll tell you my exact Christmas day. Let me see. Was my exact Christmas day this year, or was it the year before? Were we in lockdown? Can't remember. I went to the 40 foot at
Yeah.
9 o'clock on Christmas morning. Drove up to the 40 foot, an hour away. Got into the 40 foot for a few minutes.
Was it
Had
busy?
a couple of. Oh, it was absolutely jammed. It was
Really?
jammed. Yeah, it was jammed.
Yeah.
It's always jammed. That's probably my third or fourth time up there.
Yeah.
There was a goal mile run in the village here in the canal. So I came back
Yeah.
and I did that. So I was fecking starving after driving up to Dublin and in the cold water, and then so
Yeah.
then I had my dinner, and then or no, I didn't have dinner. I had a bit of lunch, because our dinner's late, and then I have the gym out the back. So I did a bit of a gym session. Then I had my dinner. So that was
Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah. You have the
yeah.
beer kegs out. I've seen a few videos.
Yeah, Asher, that's only for a bit of crack. Again, look,
Yeah.
I don't take myself too seriously, and if people, I only do it for the crack, and it is a bit of training. Jeez, like they're heavy, like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
They're not they're not easy to lift.
No.
So I just was trying to think of different, funny, innovative things, bit of strongman stuff. Again,
Mm.
just trying to be different. So.
Mm.
That's what I said I'd do that day. If you have any good ideas, let me know. Or like if you have
I will.
any, yeah,
I will.
hit me up and let me know for a bit of training.
Yeah, I'll send on a few basketball running drills. If there's any listeners from the basketball community, they'll know what I mean. There's some I remember some sessions. It's that you were mentioning kind of coming last in the runs. I remember one of my coaches there. If you came last, you were doing 5 suicides, and that's not just 5 sprints. That's quarter way back, halfway back, 3/4 back, full back. That's only one. And you have 5 more to do. And
Wow.
the other girls are getting their water and they're getting their recovery, and you have to do that, and you get a sip and you're gone to the next drill. And if you play basketball, you know that pain. But can
I don't,
you?
I don't know. Sorry for interrupting you. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I don't know an awful amount about basketball. It's one of my few sports that I don't know an awful lot. I loved Michael Jordan's documentary, obviously, but
Oh, phenomenal.
the skills and the movements defensively
Mm,
are very transferable between um, Gaelic and we had a good bit of basketball work in the last 2 or 3 years with Meath,
mm-hmm.
just
Yeah,
tackling, shape, body movement, things like that. I just found it
yeah,
very interesting. It's something I'll try and learn more
yeah,
about in the next few years. Basketball, yeah. So
yeah. There's a couple of dual players, I call them in a basketball sense. Dana Finn from Mayo, I would have had her on. Phenomenal basketball player, brilliant football player, plays for Mayo. Obviously, Kieran Donaghy, you would have known. But yeah, there's a
yeah,
huge correlation there. For those listening, and my mom's going to be listening, and she doesn't get the commitment for intercounty. Like, she doesn't understand. Like, why do you push yourself to that? Why do you train on Christmas Day? Why do you play the two? Like, can you explain to people who don't get it why you push yourself and why players give this huge commitment and essentially at some stages put their life on hold to play for their county?
yeah. I don't blame your man. Like it's. I've been. Everyone knows I love rugby league, and I was asked into the Irish camp a couple of times to chat to boys like who play with Warrington and play with St Helens in rugby league in England professionally, and I was telling them about myself, and they're asking all about my career and blah blah blah, and then they'd say, "How much do you get?" And I'd say, "Don't
Pat in the
really get,
back.
yeah, don't really get much, to be honest. Don't really get any money." Like, and they're like, you don't get wage. Like
Yeah.
they talk like they're from it's Northern England. You don't get wage. You don't get no money. And I said, no, I don't. Like, we get gear and our medical expenses, and
Mm,
it's for the love of the game. And they
mm,
kind of go, wow, jeez, it's like semi-pro in England or whatever. And I'm like, yeah,
mm,
kind of. So, um, to explain why do you do it because you're brought up with it. You do it to play in Croke Park and the best stadium in the country.
mm,
Your county's football mad. People recognise you. Not that, I don't mean to sound cringy saying that to people, but obviously you become an intercounty footballer. People recognise you on the street. You do it for the love of playing for Meath. All I wanted to do was win medals and put on that Meath jersey.
mm,
It's just ingrained in you by your family and your club, and
mm,
um, nothing bet putting on the Meath jersey for me, or beats putting it on. Like, it's
mm,
so special. And if you ask any of the Dublin guys or anything like that, or anyone, it doesn't have to be winning All Irelands. It shouldn't define anyone.
mm.
Putting on your county jersey, if that's what you want to do, is just, it means so much, and means so much to your family and friends and community.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great question in from Owen. Do players enjoy the commitment? Like, I know it's 20 or 30 plus hours that you commit to playing intercounty GA, or do you think there should be maybe a cap on the time commitment or a shorter season like there has been last year to help players kind of pursue their career and other things off the pitch?
Yeah, it's very. I think it'll be very hard. That chap Owen, like, it'll be very hard to cap the amount of training that you do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
would I love to be a pro? Would I have loved to have been 18 and signed up and play professionally? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I would have. That's me. Again, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you mightn't have liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have enjoyed it. I think. Would have been tough, obviously, at times, but to cap the training would be tough. I definitely think that the season is a huge bugbear of the players, and I think one thing that COVID showed us is that we could have a season that was shortened and
Mm-hmm.
worked. Got a lot of club games in the telly, which is brilliant, and it was played relatively quickly. Like, I don't know what the story is of basketball, but I'm sure your games are pretty much, are they week on week, week on week?
Well,
No?
usually, yeah, they'd have weekly, and then sometimes, depending on competition, it would be potentially Friday or Sunday night, or potentially a midweek. They could have two games in one week, but it's
Yeah.
usually weekend,
Yeah,
every
but
weekend or so.
what I mean is you're not waiting like playing a game, then having to wait 2 or 3 weeks for another game, or
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you know
Sorry,
what I mean?
yeah. It's a much. You would play compared to GA. You would play a lot more games in season
Yeah,
than having this 4 week gap to the All Ireland, like you were saying. Yeah.
crazy, like crazy
Mm.
stuff, and the volume of training we were doing. Like I remember one specific time we had our last league game, which would have been like the first or second week in April,
Mm.
and we were the last team out in the championship, which was a full 11 weeks away. Like 11 weeks, we had to do another preseason, and it was horrific.
Mental.
We're in the Hill of Tower, like that's crazy. So players want games. Players want week after week. You do a simple preseason. Well, not a simple preseason, but you do a short enough preseason, and then you've
Mm.
week on week, like the Premiership in soccer.
Yeah.
You play game after game after, like basketball. Play a game,
Mm.
and if you have to play 2 games in a week, that's what the
Mm.
players want. If you had to play on a Wednesday night and a Sunday, sure, great. Players players want games.
Exactly.
So I think that the GA, one thing it showed is that the championship can be ran off
Mm.
properly, relatively quick.
Mm. Did you enjoy watching the knockout championship, or do you prefer watching the Super Eights?
No, I enjoyed the knockout championship this year. I think the
Mm.
GA made a mistake in having. I think, just in my opinion, I think it was a great opportunity for them to have a completely open draw. Do like I said, do something different.
Yeah.
Um, do something different. You know, it wouldn't have been savage if Dublin got drawn out against Leitrim and had to go to Leitrim in the first round. You know,
Yeah.
or Waterford or something like that, something quirky. Or
Yeah.
Kerry got Tyrone away in the first round.
Yeah.
I think it was a big opportunity missed, but I know that players wouldn't like it every year a straight knockout.
Okay.
I do think that for the training that we do and the amount of game or the amount of effort that we put in, I think there should be definitely at least one backdoor game,
Okay.
in my
Okay. That's
opinion. So
interesting.
if you lose a
Yeah.
game, you have one more bite at the cherry. I think that a
Mm-hmm.
straight knockout is, for last year, yeah, it had to be done 100%.
Yeah.
But I think going forward, I think that management and players wouldn't want a straight knockout. I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. You mentioned there you were speaking to a couple of rugby teams. I know you were kind of in touch with a couple of the, I think it was minor under 20 Meath players. I know kind of a once off. Was you weren't really involved as management there? What were you kind of helping the lads with? What were you kind of trying to pass on to them and give them advice on?
Oh yeah, again, just not forcing it on them, or like whatever
Mm.
they wanted to talk to me about. Really, if someone wanted to talk about my experiences or what I would do in a game,
Mm.
or what I would do pre-game, like you were asking me,
Yeah.
I talk them through it and give them a little bit of pointers if I felt that there was something really, really, really obvious in their game that they were
Mm-hmm.
good at, and maybe not so good or poor at.
Yeah.
Um, just little things like that, yeah. And I've been lucky to be asked to a good few schools and for chats about food and diet and health and that, because obviously I'm studying nutrition and hopefully going to be a qualified nutritionist very soon. So I'm passionate about that and food and um, yeah, I was in with the Irish rugby league team as well. So just chatting to them and yeah. So look at I enjoy talking to people and communicating. So if people want to listen to me, and um, I suppose I've had probably a varied career. Like I said, I've had ups and downs. I've had injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I've had suspensions.
Mm-hmm.
I've had different things. I've had a long career, so I can cover a good few bases on all those different issues.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe if a guy who or a girl who's won everything and hasn't had that experience of losing or maybe
Yeah.
breaking her leg or getting suspended, they can't talk to people about those things. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. You're
you
bringing
know,
sort of, uh, let's say, a wider experience rather than just the sort of
yeah,
typical star all the way up.
maybe so. Like, yeah, I've had
Mm.
the bumps in the road. I've had being dropped. A couple of horrendous injuries, suspensions for fights, and I've played for. What are we going on now? This is my 17th year as an intercounty player, I think. So I've had a long one, and I could take a good few of those boxes, all right, Orla.
Yeah. Do you kind of see a future in coaching? Do you want to coach potentially in the future?
Definitely wouldn't say no to it. It's something probably that I've thought about a bit more. Maybe, yeah, like I wouldn't be anti-coaching at all. I enjoy it. I did a lot of it underage with the club here. So, but maybe a nutritionist role or performance nutritionist, kind of like Daniel Davy. If I got to his level, like I'm going to be a qualified nutritionist. So I actually seen a job come up in the Munster Rugby Academy there.
I saw that as well.
Yeah, recently, and I was going to apply for it, and then I said no, fuck it, I won't. Time's just not right at the moment. I don't have enough. I've excuse me, I have too many things on at the moment. So something like that, or maybe get into the IRFU, and that would interest me. You know, fueling athletes and helping them recover. And again, I would have played myself, so they would know that. This guy's played to a relatively high level. He knows what he's on about as well. So yeah, something like that. Who knows?
You've mentioned there a lot of books, and I know you're big into podcasts as well. What are your kind of do you have any favorite books? What would you recommend? Or are there any sort of social media pages that you get a lot of value from?
I'll show you. I have my 3 books on the table here now that I'm reading at the moment. Now, not to bore you. These are only 3 books at the moment that I'm just siphoning through at the moment. I don't know if you can see them. Bill Walsh, he was an NFL footballer. Arsene Wenger, and why am I turning that? Turn it this way. And Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith is probably the greatest rugby league player of all time. He has the most records. He's still playing actually. Down in the NRL. So like I love all types of books. It's hard to give you an exact book, like, because I forget about a load of them. Like I like Peter Stringer's and Donncha O'Callaghan's and Richie McCaw's, guys that played for a long time, and performed for a long time. And I'd just be following on social media. Just be following kind of strength athletes, and I like people know I like bodybuilding as well. So I have an open mind as regards all types of training. I'm open to it all. What about you?
Yeah.
Have you any good ones that you like to follow on
social media? Who am I gonna? If I'm trying not to leave them out now, but actually, I had Johnny Cooper on the podcast there a little while ago. He is doing a page called Be Unrivaled on Instagram. It's all about sort of performance and different things, and I think you'd actually really enjoy it. He puts up some really interesting content, and he does some kind of Q&As on the page, which is really interesting. I'd recommend that. And books wise, The Champion's Mind was really good, and I'm actually reading, I just finished Jim McGuinness's book, which I thought was excellent, and Toughness he's a basketball player and he does a lot of stuff on ESPN, Jay Billis. That was really good. I'm nearly finished that. Would highly recommend, even to a non-basketball person. He kind of relates it to life, and it's really, really interesting. But that would be probably, and podcast wise, actually, you'd probably really enjoy it. The High Performance Podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh yeah, I've actually, it's been coming up on my Instagram a bit more recently. Is Johnny Wilkinson, was he on it? Yeah.
He was. Yeah, that episode was brilliant. I'm really enjoying that podcast. That's probably one of my favourites at the moment. They just have some really quality guests. And it's not even quality guests, it's just good conversation, you know what I mean? You don't have to have the biggest name to have a great conversation, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, yeah. I read Jimmy McGuinness actually is over there in the corner as well. Some man, Johnny Cooper, yeah. What is it? Be Unrivaled, is it?
Be Unrivaled, yeah. I'll send you the link afterwards. I'm enjoying that one.
I remember running down chasing back someone in a game. My memory from games actually isn't unbelievable. Like I don't remember every second of every game, but I remember running like the clappers after someone down the middle of the field, and the ball was probably 10 yards ahead of me. Like I was never going to get whoever it was.
Yeah.
Johnny Cooper came out of nowhere and absolutely took the legs from under me. I went flying. I fell flat in my face. He went off laughing. I wanted to kill him, but he was gone. But he absolutely burst me out of it, and I was flat in my face. So he was giving his teammates like the boy Dublin were gone with the ball, but it was very fair play to him. I would have done the same thing. Wouldn't blame him at all.
Yeah. Final question before we move on to the final segment, Sideline 7. What advice would you give to players looking or who are dual players on kind of balancing everything and playing two sports at a very high level?
Yeah, just enjoy it. Practice both. Don't get too if you're young. Don't get too frustrated with either or panic too much about either. Everything will work out okay. Fuel up well, eat well, recover well. Diet and water is huge for everyone. Like just staying hydrated, basic things. Get your rest in, sleep well, and just try and practice. Again, have that balance in training that you're not doing too much, because it can be tough on the body. So make sure that you're recovered going into games as best you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sideline 7 is this segment at the end of every podcast. It's the same 7 questions for every guest. I'm going to start off with question 1. What is your favourite quote?
Oh God, you have to get me now with that.
Are you a big quotes fan or?
Not. Oh God, do you know what? Something will probably come to me when we stop talking. But I'll tell you, I have a tattoo, and it's Noli Timieri. It's probably just the thing that's coming into my head, and it means "Don't be afraid." Yeah. And Seamus Heaney sent it to his wife in a text message before he died. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they used to speak Latin. It's Latin, Noli Timiere, and I have it on my arm. Probably can't. No, you won't be able to see it. Noli Timiere, and it means "Don't be afraid." And I just thought it was beautiful, a beautiful thing to send to his wife. He was dying. It was the last thing he said to her. And Latin, and he sent it to her, and it means "Don't be afraid." It can go for a lot of things, like don't be afraid, and a lot of different things in life. So I liked it so much, I got it tattooed on me. So that's probably a quote. Don't be Latin, Noli Timiere.
Yeah. Best sporting event you've been to, and that can be as a fan or as a player.
Best sporting event. Freaking hell, let's go on. Is there one that I'd like to go to? Best sporting event? No, is that a question? No.
You can. Do you have like a bucket list of what you want to go to see?
I'd love to go to watch the Rugby League Super League final in England. It's always in Old Trafford. I'd like to go to that. It's in October time, or some Rugby League final, or a big boxing fight maybe as well.
Yeah. Is there a particular match that stands out in your career that you particularly enjoyed, or was just a really, one of those dogged fights that you would have pulled out at the end?
Did I play in a game that I played in?
Yeah, you played in, yeah.
Mayo in 2009 was a really good game. Quarter final, we bet them. Dublin in 2012 was a really, really good game. Leinster final, even though we only lost by a goal. Huge crowd, probably 75,000. The place was rocking. We were really, really close to winning that day. And then probably after that, the monster that is Dublin kind of came after that. But again, even though I lost, and I wanted to win so bad, playing in that game and experiencing that was something that I'll always remember.
Yeah. Biggest setback or challenge so far in your career?
Probably breaking my leg. I broke my leg in 2010 and did medial ligaments. Took me 9 or 10 months to get back from that. Okay. That was horrific. The pain, everything. I have a bar in my leg for life.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, broke my shin bone, broke my tibia and fibia, dislocated my ankle, and did medial ligaments in my knee. So I gave it a right good. I gave it a right good going over. Playing against Laois in the championship. Big John O'Loughlin fell on me, and he's a big rig. He's a big unit. He's a big unit. So jeez, I'll never forget the pain of that. My God, that was horrendous. So had to get oxygen on the field and the whole shebang. But yeah,
Holy
it
mac.
took me 9 or 10 months to get back from that hurl, and people question
Mm,
me again. Will I get back? Will he be any good? Will he be slow? Will he lose his pace? All
yeah.
those type of things. But that was probably a couple of suspensions, but that was
Mm.
different. The leg was probably the biggest thing to come back from.
And that's what I'm going through now, is what you were saying. Can I get back? And I'm sure there's, you know what I mean? There's probably someone thinking, oh, she won't be what she was before, you know what I mean? And you're questioning yourself, and to be honest with you, until recently, I didn't have an ambition to go back and play, because I think it really, like, it questions, when you're doing, like, I can't see, when you're in that, you can't see yourself playing football at the moment. Like, I'm
Mm.
not back running yet, but I can't see myself going training yet, you know what I mean? And it's that mental aspect that you don't think about.
Absolutely, and again, like, you're only human. Like, I
Mm,
had them thoughts going through my head. Like,
yeah.
I remember that breaking me when I broke the leg and lying in hospital, and I was still in my gear.
Yeah.
I was in my gear for a day because that was a Saturday night game, and they wouldn't let me shower. Obviously, I wasn't there. My leg was up like a balloon, and so David Cogley was the name of the surgeon.
Mm,
Your parents probably might have heard, and I would have heard. Fred Cogley was like the rugby commentator. He was the famous rugby commentator for Ireland. You'll definitely know his voice if you hear him. Fred Cogley was the rugby commentator for the Six Nations and all that of Ireland, and it was his son that did the operation. He was the surgeon. But I always remember Bob O'Malley, he was selector, sending me this big essay of a text when I was in the bed, and I was crying, and sure, I was on painkillers, and I didn't know what was going
yeah.
on. He said, "You're going to have dark days, Mickey. Here, you're going to have serious, serious demons and serious dark days,
Mm,
but you will get back." And I'd say the same to you.
mm,
It's not going to be easy, and you will have dark
mm.
days, but you will. Yeah, I actually believe you will come. You will come back a better player.
Yeah, and I
I,
do
I,
as well, and it's changed. I can't explain it, but it's just changed, your mindset. And I'm doing coaching, and that's just opened this
yeah,
other side of football that I didn't even think about before. You know what I mean? And it's just different. It's totally different.
and you probably realize it's only when something's gone you realize how
Yeah.
much you miss it and how much you want it. And
Hmm.
like I was saying, I don't mean to be going on about it. That was 2010, and I was flying with
Mm.
me playing. I was playing centre back. I was actually out of corner back. I was playing, and I was playing so well. I didn't, maybe I would have only played for another 2 or 3 years. Maybe I would have got a bit cocky and thought I was the great lad.
Yeah.
But again, I got the bang. I got cut down at the knees, and then
Mm.
I had to say, Jesus, I really missed that. I want that. I want to get back playing at that level again, and
Yeah.
that's why I rehabbed hard and had another long career. Thank God, played
Yeah.
it for another few years. So, like yourself, bumps in the road, but we just have to do our best to get up and get on with it and have a positive mindset. And I have no doubt I came back a better footballer, and I know you'll come back a better player and person as well
Yeah.
for having that disappointment. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. No, even
keep
if
the
I never
faith.
step exactly, and even if I decide, and I've haven't put pressure on myself to go back playing, that's the biggest thing for me, is because I put myself under pressure. You have to go back, you have to be better. But now it's, if I pick up a football again, I'll be delighted. You know what I mean? It's not
Yep.
putting that pressure on. But kind of talking about the flip side of that, the positive side. What's your biggest achievement on or off the pitch?
I suppose firstly playing with Meath, like actually playing senior with Meath, like as I was talking about that Wexford game, we were junior B at that time.
Mm.
Like we my club eventually got to senior. We won a junior B, we won a junior A, and we won an intermediate. But I was in the lowest rung of the ladder with me, like as an underage footballer. Like with
Mm.
my club's first team was only junior B, so
Mm.
actually playing, I was the first Longwood man to play with me.
Mm.
Uh, then playing for as long as I did.
Mm.
And I suppose from an individual point of view, getting the Meath Senior Footballer of the Year in 2018 from the county board was that was really, 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 really special. That was amazing to get
Mm.
that. That was from a personal point of view. That's like getting it's like getting an all-star in your
Yeah.
own county, like to be on the
Mm.
trophy with all those great players. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Looking back, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh, maybe to chill out a little bit more if I could.
Less
Eat,
training.
eat a few jellies and yeah, like a few jellies isn't going to do you any harm. Like
Yeah,
again, I was all in. That's my
yeah,
mentality. I was all in or I was all out. And
yeah.
at the same time, I kind of say, like I repeat myself, would I have got to where I did if I didn't have that all in mentality? I don't know, but I would like to have worked on my mindset. I think, not bringing things home with me. I was a fecker for
Mm,
bringing things home with me, and excuse me, taking it out maybe on the people that love me the most,
mm,
snapping at my parents and my sister, little things like that. If I didn't have a
yeah,
good game, mum and dad who are football mad. My father is football crazy. He all he'd want to do was talk about the game after a league game, and I was crap, and I'd go into the house and he'd go, "That wasn't great today, was it by us?" And he'd be on about me, and he'd only just be having, "Oh, shut up, will you? What are you?" And I go down to the room. I wish I didn't carry that home with me, like you know.
yeah, yeah,
That'd probably be the one thing. My girlfriend in the last couple of years probably has to listen to an awful lot of nonsense off me, or not sleeping on a Sunday night after a game. Like, I wouldn't.
right.
I'd be up watching telly until 3 o'clock in the morning, thinking about the game. Like that's just me.
Okay.
That's just
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And some players can park it at the
Yeah,
sideline. They can walk over the sideline or walk out of the dressing room and
yeah.
park that, and that just shows everybody's different. And
I think that's class. I think that's class as well. I think that's
mm,
deadly if a lad can do that. If a lad can give me everything,
yeah,
or a girl for those 70, 75 minutes plus,
mm,
and you know I know that they want to be there, and I know that they're giving it everything in their tank, and then once they walk off the field, um that's it done. Fair play to them. I respect them
yeah,
for doing that. Maybe when I was a little bit younger, I'd be kind of going, he doesn't care, like
yeah,
why is he not,
yeah,
hurting, why is he not like a bull in the dressing room, like he's showered and he's gone. But
yeah,
he was able to park it, and I respect people now that are able to do that. I say, like, as much as I say football is everything and sport is everything to me, it's not. Like at the same time, it's
mm,
not. And yeah, maybe I wish I was a little bit more chilled
yeah,
after games. That's probably something I would like to work on.
yeah. That's interesting. Dream dinner guest and why?
Oh God, I got asked this
You can
before. I got asked
you
this
can pick a
before.
few. Yeah, you can pick a few if you want.
Oh my God, dream dinner guest. Oh God, Alex Ferguson maybe. Roy Keane maybe.
Yeah,
Um, God, they're all going to come back to me, and I'll say, why didn't I say them? Maybe George Best, like, or someone like that for the crack. I'm picking a lot of Man United people here for some reason. Maybe a good looking woman as well there to I'll get shot for saying this. Maybe Kelly Brook or Katy Perry or someone.
yeah. There you go.
Just to look
Uh,
at. Just to look at.
if your life was a book, what chapter would this be called?
As in, what would the name of the book be?
No, I
Or
did. What would this chapter be if you had the life of Mickey Burke in this? I have my notebook here beside me. If this was your book of your life, if what would this chapter be called?
we'll go with Noli Tamieri again. Don't be afraid.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid of what the future's going to hold. My sporting career, my work. Maybe call it Noli Tamieri. Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't know what's around the corner, but we'll meet it head on, whatever it is.
yeah, I like that one. Look, Mickey, thank you so much for your time. It's coming up on 2 hours. I really appreciate it, and look, just thank you for coming on to chat to me.
Not at all. Thanks a million for asking me, Arla. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very natural, and keep in touch. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks a million, Mickey.
No problems.
A huge thank you to Mickey for coming on today. Be sure to go check out mickeyburke.ie for high quality sportswear, gloves and more. And be sure to let us know over on social media if you enjoyed the episode and who you would like to hear from. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you did enjoy the episode, be sure to leave a rating and a review. If you're interested in starting up your own podcast, be sure to get in touch with the Primal Productions team over on Instagram at Primal Pro.